another commandment from Leviticus, which tells people who own fields to not harvest all the grain from their field, but to leave some of the grain so that the foreigner and the widow and the orphan can glean in their fields. And so it's this really specific example of someone who's a landowner doesn't take all the profits from their own land, but then leaves some of that, some of the produce from their land, leaves some of that produce so that these people in society are able to get it for themselves and feed themselves from it. Gleaning is, I think, mostly kind of initially about caring for the people in your society who don't have their own resources, who can't care for themselves. And yet it's gleaning of the land and the agricultural focus of it in the Old Testament, this agriculturally based society. And so I can't help but also read issues of land care and creation care, and how do we think about our resources that are in the environment around us. So I think it very much relates to how do we think of the land, and if this is a Western idea of people who've sort of approached the environment as resources that we just get as much as we can for ourselves, as opposed to this Israelite idea of the land is God's land. And in fact, living on the land, having land, it's all a gift from God. And so stewardship is from the very beginning of the Old Testament. In Genesis 1, humans are commanded to steward, to take good care of the land. But even once they own land in the promised land, when these laws are given to them, there's all these commandments about how do they take care of the land. So in addition to the commandments to keep a Sabbath for individuals, for people to stop from their work, there's also laws to give the land a sabbatical year. So you can grow your crops for 6 years, but the 7th year don't grow any crops, and you're commanded to let the land rest. So in the same way that humans are supposed to rest themselves, they're also supposed to give the land a rest. And part of that is acknowledging it's not yours. It's a gift to you. You have it, you can be a tenant, but it's not kind of permanent ownership in the way that, again, we in the West tend to think about. This plot of land is mine, I can do whatever I want with it. The Bible's really clear that the land ultimately belongs to God. It also makes me think about how I sometimes operate out of this scarcity mentality that, I only have this much, and so I need to hold on to it and make sure that I can get whatever I need for myself and for those around me. And then to think about how often the Old Testament talks about God as a God of abundance, who just provides so much. And following these laws about gleaning, even following the laws about keeping a Sabbath, following the laws which require me to look out for others and not just myself, require this trust, right? That God will take care of me, that I'll be okay.